And welcome to episode 11, the RV Road Trip, part of John's Eclectic Photo Storytime Adventure. Through the lens of the heart, John had always believed that beauty was everywhere, if only you knew where to look. A professional photographer with an eye for quiet wonder, he spent most of his career chasing elusive golden hours and fleeting moments in nature. But lately, the idea of finding beauty had shifted from exotic locations to something simpler, something shared. It started as a dream over coffee one snowy morning to take an extended road trip with his wife, Miya, in an RV. No schedules, no clients, no plans. Just open roads, his camera, and her hand in his. After months of saving, planning, and paring down, they hit the road in early May, their RV packed with essentials, lenses, journals, and a sense of freedom they had not felt in years. They had been driving for days through the heartland when they found the field. It wasn't on the map, just a wide open patch of rolling earth tucked behind an old wire fence, a little ways off a country road in central Oklahoma. The sun was high, the air sweet with the scent of spring. As Miya prepped lunch inside the RV, John wandered into the field, lured by flashes of red flickering between the tall grasses. He perused mid-step, stunned. Before him stretched an entire field blanketed in Indian paintbrush flowers. Fairy red, the color of embers, their slender stalks swaying with the breeze. He knelt slowly, as though afraid to wake a dream, and he raised his camera. The shutter clicked. From behind him, Miya's voice drifted. "You found something, didn't you?" He grinned, looking back. "You have to see this." Miya joined him in the field, barefoot, marveling at the sea of blossoms. She leaned into him, and together they stood there, wordless. Later, she would write in her journal about the moment. Not all beauty asks for attention. Some just wait for it to be seen. Further down the road, in the hazy heat of late afternoon, they came across a windmill rising stoically over an abandoned farmhouse. Two rusted silos stood to the left of it like forgotten sentinels. John parked the RV on the gravel shoulder, and they stepped out into the churring soundscape of crickets and wind. "Think it still works?" Miya asked. John squinted into his viewfinder. "Doesn't matter. It remembers things." He captured the windmill against a sky bristling with storm light. The silos, though crumbling, stood proud in his frame. He loved structures that wore their age. One golden morning, they drove beside a vast cornfield as the sun began to climb. The clouds scattered just enough for a single dramatic sunbeam to pour down across the rows of green, casting a divine spotlight directly on John as he stood in the field's edge, camera to his face. Miya laughed, grabbing her phone to snap a photo. "You look like some cornfield's messiah." John grinned. Finally, the crops recognized their photographer. It was a moment full of light on the stalks, on his face, on her smile. A few miles later, another cornfield spread to the horizon, but this one was different. A single tree stood sentinel in the center, as if guarding the memories of a million harvests. The branches were wide, ancient, almost weary. They pulled over again. John set up his tripod. Miya brought out folding chairs and lemonade. They watched the tree sway in the wind, quiet and grounded. "Do you think it gets lonely?" she asked. "No," John said, adjusting his focus. "I think it knows it's enough." In a meadow not far from the solitary tree, they stumbled on a patch of wildflowers, white, yellow, and orange, all bursting in the clumps across the gentle rise. Miya walked through them, arms outstretched, the fabric of her dress catching petals like sails catching wind. John did not need his camera for this. He just watched. But eventually, he took the shot. One evening, they pulled into a roadside clearing just as the sun began to dip. The RV sat against a backdrop of pastel sky and pines. Miya lit the small string of solar lights they strung under the awning. The inside of the RV glowed with warm yellows, homey and soft. John stepped back and snapped the outside view. RV, lights, dusk falling around it like a bug. Later that night, inside the RV, they cooked pasta on the tiny stove. Jazz playing low in the background. Photos lined the corkboard above the dining nook. Indian paintbrushes, silos, cornfields, trees. Miya traced a finger over them. "I think we're making our own gallery," she whispered. Then came the sunset. They were driving westward when the sky exploded. Not metaphorically, it exploded. Crimsons, gold, burnt orange, lavender, all smeared across the horizon like brushstrokes from a furious painter. The clouds looked like molten silk. It was the kind of sky that made people pull over, get out, breathe. John did all three. As he set up his camera, he noticed the cows in a nearby pasture, dark silhouette against the inferno sky. Some stood, others lay down, all utterly unbothered by the drama overhead. Click, click. That evening, as they looked through the shots, Miya whispered, "The sky was on fire." John nodded, and the world did not burn. The next morning was soft and cool. Dew clung to tall, wild grasses that swayed beside a narrow road. Past the grasses, a lake shimmered under the early sun, like a secret kept just for them. John did not take a photo, not yet. They stood in silence for a long time, just watching the water breathe. Miya leaned her head on his shoulder. "Do you ever wish we'd done this sooner?" she asked. He wrapped his arm around her. "No, we're here now, and that's enough." Weeks passed, and the RV took them through valleys and mountains, deserts and forest. But those quiet places, fields, flowers, fire sky evenings, stayed with them. John's camera filled with images, but his heart filled with moments, many of which he did not capture, did not need to. And Miya, in her journal, wrote the words that John would later use as the opening caption to his road trip photo series. "We didn't go to escape the world. We went to meet it, and somehow we found ourselves there too." The end. If you enjoyed this episode of the RV Road Trip, please join us next time for episode 12, Flower Moon Rising. The following photographs and camera supporting documentation is provided to show that these are not AI generated photographs. Thank you. And thanks again for listening and watching the RV Road Trip. If you enjoyed this presentation, please consider subscribing and give this a like. Thank you.